Happy Thursday. I was just outside, and in Florida, it's as hot as blue blazes. It's just, it's almost miserable. And for me to say it's almost miserable, it's hot because I like hot weather. Sorry about that. That was my phone. At any rate, I was working with a client yesterday, and we were talking about market values or home values and how sellers and their agents arrive at a list price. So I thought, well, that's going to make a perfect video. So I'm going to quickly go through and kind of go over what I was telling this client. There are usually four main factors that go into setting a list price, and in no particular order. It's location, property condition, comparable properties that have sold, didn't sell, or are for sale, and the terms and conditions of a contract or a listing agreement. So I'll quickly go over each one for you. The location. And that's pretty self-explanatory. You know, you always read location, location, location. Well, that determines a lot. It's telling you that some neighborhoods are more popular than others, and it has to do with their proximity to other popular areas. Down here, the proximity to the beach is always a huge factor. But it's, deals with schools, shopping, major traffic arteries, that kind of thing. So the second thing is the property's condition. And again, that's kind of self-explanatory. You're looking at the age of the house, the condition of the house. Is it in good shape? Does it need work? Is the roof old? Is the AC system old? That kind of thing. And so you have to factor that into setting your list price, because it pertains to our buyer's going to have to come in and do a lot of work to bring the house up to where it needs to be. The comparable properties. Now, this entails three different types of comparable properties. And when you say comparable properties, you're looking at similar homes in the number of bedrooms, the square footage, the type of home, and as close to the subject property as possible, and within the shortest time span from the listing as possible. So listing agents will they'll go out possibly 90 days if they have to. They try to keep it 90 days or less, and they look at similar homes that have sold in that time period within a very short radius. They want to stay as close to the property as possible. So they'll look in the neighborhood. They might go out a quarter of a mile if they have to, but they'll keep it as close to the subject property in terms of proximity and style and look of the home. And they look at those properties that have sold. They also take into account comparable properties that did not sell. We call these expired listings in the biz. And expired listings are homes that did not sell. They sat on the market because you have a contract, you have a listing agreement, and it has a start date. And if the home does not sell by the end date, the seller can choose to just let the contract expire or, go from there. So when a house doesn't sell, one of the biggest reasons it doesn't sell is because it was priced too high. So those are expired listings, and you want to take those into consideration. And the biggest ones you want to look at are the comparable properties currently for sale. That's your competition, and you want to price yourself closely to those so that you can be competitive with them. And, hopefully you get as many opportunities to attract buyers. The last thing is the terms and conditions of the agreement, or what the seller is asking for in the contract. You want to keep it as clean as possible. You don't want a bunch of ifs, ands, and buts in there that can deter buyers. On the flip side, when you're working with a buyer, the same thing is said. You don't want a buyer to put a lot of ifs, ands, and buts in the offer that can deter a seller from wanting to accept the offer or even counter. So those are the four things that are taken into consideration when you are setting. It's important to understand, for sellers to understand, that although it's often the idea that if you set the list price higher, you have more room to negotiate. And that's not necessarily true, unfortunately. When you set the list price too high, one of two things happens. You're either not going to get any attention on your listing. No one's going to look at it because it's priced too high. It's priced out of the area's, the market's threshold. Or it's just going to sit. And they kind of go hand in hand, and eventually the listing does expire unless you have to lower the price. And then sometimes when you lower the price, you end up going down below where you could have sold it had you listed it properly or priced it properly. So those are the things to consider when you are getting ready to list your house, and working with a qualified, licensed real estate professional like me, who knows the market and who can help you do what you need to do to get it sold and to give you the tips, make recommendations. It's worth its weight in gold. So anyway, that's it. I am getting ready to go do a few things around my house, and I will talk to you soon. I hope y'all have a lovely weekend, and if you're in this part of the South, stay cool. Stay in the air conditioning, wear your masks, and be safe. Bye.